Richie Valdez has taken on many jobs: a banker, a baker,
I was a previous business owner and I used to bake so much.
a TV show contestant, and now the first Filipino Canadian woman to be a federal cabinet minister.
Richie Valdez.
It was a profound moment for me to know that I was representing the close to 1 million Filipinos now here in Canada.
Valdez represents one of the fastest growing populations in Canada, but one of the most politically underrepresented. She's only the second Filipino Canadian member of parliament ever. Not since MP Ray Pagdican, a cabinet minister in the early 2000s, has someone of her background reached this level.
It's time for us to be heard.
So wait, this guy was the first Filipino. So what gives? So I googled it and here's what I found. There's two ways to say Filipino. Filipino is Hispanic for referring to both Filipino and Filipino men. Filipina is for females. So that's kind of cheap. They make a fuss about her being the first Filipina, which underhandedly she is, but she's not the first Filipino. And a quick side note, prior to yesterday, I didn't even know the difference between Filipina and Filipino. Well, now I do. Was it worth it? No. Alright, back to the video.
Time for us to represent ourselves in Canadian democracy.
This restaurant owner says Valdez's appointment to small business minister is meaningful. Statistics Canada shows the percentage of Filipino Canadians who are self-employed is the lowest of any ethnic group in the country, at just under 5%.
Being a business owner myself and having witnessed a lot of the obstacles that folks from our community face, it's not easy to start up a business coming from an immigrant community. Oh, we got the crisp new menus on here.
For Filipino Canadians, the pressure to have a stable income, in part to support family back home, makes entrepreneurship seem unreachable.
And oftentimes being able to take another huge risk after making the tremendous risk of moving halfway across the world into a new country.
So this woman's complaining about it being difficult to start up a business after having moved halfway around the world. Yeah, it's difficult for Canadian citizens to start their own business. You have to have a lot of money. And to compound this, she says it's even harder when they have to send money back to the old country. Well, here's a thought. Rather than sending money back to your family in the old country, why don't you put all your money into starting a business? And then when your business is thriving, then you can send money back to the old country. Or if you really want to support your family in the old country, don't try to start a business. Get a 9-to-5 job and send them what money you can. Alright, continuing with what's left of the video.
While the Liberal government has brought in special programs to fund Black and Indigenous entrepreneurs, there's nothing similar for Filipino Canadians.
So yeah, the federal government brings in programs and financing for Black and Indigenous people, but now they want to finance Filipinos. But you know who will never get financed? Whitey. So a quick circle back, they talked about how the Filipino community was less than 1 million people, and only 5% of them own their own business. I would say that's pretty good for a community that's relatively new. And yeah, I've known for a while that the government's been giving financial aid to Indigenous entrepreneurs and Black entrepreneurs. And that ticks me right off because you're giving people money based on their race, which is racism. Another reason it pisses me off? Who's paying for that? The tax chattel. And majority of Canada's white, so white people are paying for their own diversification, basically. So in summary, I used to have a respect for the Filipino community. In town where I'm at, there's a little Filipino store. It's kind of cool. But after watching this video, I've lost a lot of respect for them. They're complaining about how hard it is to start a business being an immigrant. Yeah. When my Oma and Ompa moved to Canada from the Netherlands, they had to work on someone else's farm. Well, that's it for my thoughts on this sob story. Take care out there in clown world.